Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Awesome F1 2020 career mode with, of course, Alpha Tauri. Just a little note that I will be pushing this series to finish off season 1 over the next week, so expect to see a lot of career mode episodes on the channel over the next week or so, just so we can push them out before July comes to a close, and then we can start looking at mighty mods and other game experiments, and of course this career mode in season 2, where we hopefully will be going to Red Bull. But we'll just haven't taken a look at a bit of R&D. It's sort of starting to open up. Unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to get a lot of engine upgrades because a lot of them are locked by the fact that we haven't got big enough facilities, which is a shame. So that sort of limits the potential for the engine side. But our aero side, we're going to make an upgrade on the front downforce. That will come in probably just in time for the Belgian Grand Prix. But I'd like to point out something about the performance. As you know, Carl sends these performance comparison little emails, and the performance comparison doesn't match what is actually on the performance indicator. So that's a bug, definitely. The fact that we listed 1.4 faster team, yes, I know Racing Point version upgrade, but according to Carl, I mean, Renault and McLaren haven't had an upgrade since Canada, whereas the fact of the matter is they actually upgraded in Britain. So yes, that's definitely another bug, and that's probably why our performances haven't been, well, Gasly's performances haven't been great this season. As we move into qualifying, Hungary is one of my better tracks on the grid, so we're hoping that we're going to be able to get some good performance, but unfortunately that's not the case. Qualifying has been pretty miffed. We're 18th in the grid, only the Williams are slowest, and considering the fact they're the slowest car by a country mile, so it's a struggle. The upgrades haven't worked, they failed, because otherwise we would be both in the top 10 if we had the upgrades that were working on the car. So, and look at that, we're at what, 7,700 down on Grosjean as we go into the middle sector. We're a tenth and a half up though on our previous time, so I'm hoping that we go through this sector 2/10 up, 2.5 tenths up. Fortunately, I was losing a lot of time to the AI again through this middle sector. I made all the time up though in the first sector and the final sector as well. You can see there we're 4.5 tenths up now as we go through that, make that half a second up. So Hamilton's gone on a new lap. Obviously, everybody's going to come across the line and improve. So it's only a question of how much everybody improves by. We're up almost 6 tenths, and that is 13th. Okay, Gasly in 10th though. We're 6 seconds back, so I'd expect a bit more really, especially with the car being the 5th fastest car on the grid. You don't want to be 10th and 13th, you want to be both cars in the top 10. Racing Point as well, McLaren and Renault doing a little bit better, so there is the opportunity there, but unfortunately that we're not going to win our rivalry against Albon since he's
It's a session, but these things happen from time to time. Try to make up for it in the race.
Oh, go away, man! I don't need your rubbish today.
It's race day in Budapest as we get ready for another round of the Formula One World Championship. We don't expect too many retirements at this track. There are plenty of current and former drivers with flawless finish rates here. In particular, Ralf Schumacher. He made it across the line in all 10 of his Hungarian Grand Prix starts. We're northeast of Budapest for the race today at the 2.7-mile Hungaroring circuit. 14 corners here, 8 to the right and 6 to the left, on a track where downforce is king and passing is notoriously difficult. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are three main things to worry about there, Crofty. Positioning, awareness and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Albon, Verstappen, Charles Leclerc and Vettel, Ricciardo, Sainz, Perez and Pierre Gasly, Stroll, Ocon and AlphaTauri and Norris, Grosjean, Magnussen, Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi, Russell and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
So yes, I have lowered the AI a little bit because they're not consistent track to track, so which is annoying because you'd want them to be consistent where they weren't in F1 2019. They're not consistent in this year's game either. And I'm thinking, just looking at the strategy, it looks like we're going to go for softer mediums. Yes, we're outside the top 10, so we could go medium to softs, but I'm hoping to gain on a good start. We're not desperate times, so you want to be starting on the mediums really, and doing the counter strategy. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! It's a great start with overtake again. We get Ocon on the line. Can we get Stroll? He's coming back at us now, probably activated his overtake. We're going to have a look down the inside. Can we get... Vettel forces us to the grass. We had to take to the curb, excuse me. Otherwise we'd have lost a front wing there. We look out around the outside of Ricciardo, can't do anything there. We've got Perez up or inside. Can we get rid of the Mexican? Yes, we can. And that's us up into P8. So that's a great start. Making positions up again like we did in Britain. So we're having good starts against the AI in recent races, which is good. We've thought about going for the move on the Ricciardo, but thought second best of it. If we look behind now, our teammate, we sort of settled in ahead of Lando Norris. He qualified on the same row as me, so Norris has moved forwards. Of course, the championship at the front, it's all going Bottas's way with Leclerc second, but of course he's got Hamilton and Verstappen both breathing down his neck there, so he doesn't want to do too much there. As we move to lap 6, we've been coming in to make our pit stop. A lot of other people, as we take a very unorthodox curb line there and into the pits we come. Hamilton going out on hards. I don't get that decision. Nobody's got a poor tyre where they need hards in a 25% race. Unless of course you're pitting very early, like at the start, like on lap 1 or something. But 2.9 seconds stop, slightly slower than what we managed previously. We're going to come out where in relation to Carlos Sainz, and we're just going to make it around the outside there. We'll get a replay, and so Perez was right up my backside coming out the pits, but Sainz tries around the outside and then slots in behind. In actual fact, that you can just see Daniel Ricciardo there in the background, so he's lost out 3 positions in the pit stop as Perez decides to come back at Sainz, going through turns 3 and 4 and up the hill. While they're still going side by side, Ricciardo's there and it's a little shove from Sainz and Perez gives up in the end. But of course I don't have any pace, so I'm not able to break away from the likes of Sainz and Perez and Ricciardo. And Stroll, in fact, is in the back of this group. I think Norris is behind my team along with Ocon. So as George Russell is out of the session and surprisingly, for the first time this season, it's not coming out as a goes through. What's going on with that sponsor board there with the Rolex? He's like halfway through the Rolex. His wheels are like sunk through the Rolex. It doesn't look like when he all up through photo mode or cockpit it looks fine, but through the off-board shot it looks like the Rolex sponsor board is like hovering halfway through the air. Well, that's another glitch. But that was the race. I mean, they do call Hungary Monaco without the barriers, so Sainz was unable to get past us. We did have better pace than he did, than him in the first and third sectors, especially using a lot of overtake. Hopefully that's not going to damage our energy swirl wear too much, but we should be able to go to the end of the season now with the components we've got. P7, I mean, that's from the fact that we thought we were P18 for the majority of qualifying, and the fact we managed to get P7 and P13 is not a bad result considering all things considered. There, Gasly didn't really do much. He started in the top 10 and really didn't have any pace today, so the car's definitely suffering with these new upgrades. The pace really wasn't there compared to the others of the likes around me. Obviously the likes of Ricciardo and Perez and Sainz probably be done the faster lap times if they weren't stuck behind myself, but we're not completely slow, but we retain P7 now, 75 points to our name. We're sort of in a bit of no man's land now, waiting for Perez, Ricciardo, possibly Sainz maybe to catch us up if they have one or two good results. Obviously it depends there, but at the top obviously Valtteri Bottas now has a win and a fastest laps. Gap to Lewis Hamilton, who overtakes Leclerc. But our teammate there down in the 18th, so it's not. I don't know. I don't want to. He hasn't done a lot, Gasly, this season. 4 points where I've got 75. I know 25 of those have come from a race win, but still, that's a big difference. And the fact of the matter is, we're fourth in the constructors. We need him to start pulling his weight a bit more if we're going to move well. If we're going to stay ahead of, because the Renault, Racing Point, McLaren are all starting to gain momentum now. Their cars are coming into it.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
Well, the start was the best thing, going down the inside. It was a little bit iffy, but
how do you think this
it was
team
great.
will be feeling after that result?
I think they'll be kicking themselves because they had Ricciardo in 7th and they lost 3 positions through the pit stops. So better decisions need to be made.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Well, that were 2 questions that weren't ridiculous there from Claire for once. But in the rivalry, well, it's 4-2 down. Are we going to move up to level 9? No, we're not. Thank you very much. So we'll have to wait for the next race to get there. But we do have another 1,208 resource points to spend. We'll have, hopefully, our major engine upgrade coming in for the next race, which, of course, is the 12th round of the season at Belgium. So that's going to help us down the straights. Hopefully that will allow Gasly as well to make some positions up as well, so we can push in the Constructors' Championship. And of course we'll look to do some more upgrades, possibly on the Sashi side as well, as we look towards maybe Japan and the United States maybe. I know they've got straights, but they have got middle sectors that do require more Sashi dependent cars. And also we're going to look at some tyre wear upgrades as well, potentially get those big major ones on the car, because there's a whole load of more that's just tucked behind that one upgrade. But yes, if you have enjoyed this video, then leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new to see more episodes of the F1 2020 Alpha Tauri Career Mode when they come out, which will be daily 7 PM for the next week until we get out Season 1. But until the next video, take care, thank you so much for watching, enjoy your day, and goodbye.